How can I start this video off? Well, this is the grinding video, and I should have in shot the grinder here, and over there, over there. All the wheels have arrived. Not only that, I've also got a selection of small wheels which this grinder uses, covered in dust. There's a small wheel attachment. Currently the grinder's set up in a manner which allows me to grind the profiles of the knives, and that's what I've been doing this morning. I've been grinding out the profiles of some camp knives. And when I say this morning, it almost looks like night time, doesn't it, with the windows blacked out. Another tip for anyone that's watching this video trying to pick up a few instant tips is that if you want to grind accurately, you've got to be able to control the light. So obviously I've got a little lamp here, but you need, in my case, that this is a south facing window, so it's actually very bright outside, and without those blackouts I wouldn't be able to use this grinder during the daytime. Here, I'll show you. So that's what I'm dealing with. That natural light coming in and making shadows, and the shadows just throw your grinding off, and you can't see what you're doing. So hence I use blackouts. There we are, restored back to grinding like conditions. So anyway, as I say, I've just ground out the profiles of some knives. It's now time to adjust the grinder for the next phase. As you can see with the, let's remove those in a minute. Using the surface table here in that direction, the grinder's making lines across the profile of the knife. Next thing I wanted to do is to actually refine those grind lines and get them all going in one direction, and that also cleans up and refines the profile of the knife even more, and after that then I can go on and drill the handle holes. What I need to do now is remove this work table, and you notice the work table actually does tilt as well, and so you can adjust it, and you can move it in for if you wanted to do some hollow grinding, say, you can adjust it at different angles. The machine, this grinder is exceptionally well thought out. I've had it now for a couple of months, and I'm really delighted with it, to be honest with you. It's a game changer for me. So I want to now work in this direction on the grinder, so simply a matter of pulling out this work rest, come over here, and I've got another work rest. They're all adjustable, and this one will go on here. And then tighten it up. And the fantastic thing about this grinder is I can then loosen another little lever, and the grinder will tilt through 90 degrees. Oh, I've got to show you this as well. You're looking underneath the grinder now. Now, to lock the grinder in this position, if I lift it up now, it's hitting on there. It's not going to tighten up. But where necessary, these tighteners, fasteners, you can pull them out. They pull out, and then you're able to swivel them back, and then let them go back in again. pull it out. Sorry, you need to just hold the inner, pull it out, swivel it around, pull it out, swivel it back. And then I've now tightened it up with this adjustment here. So extremely well thought out. It's brilliant. So this grinder is now set up for me to work along in this way and get all that accurately profiled. Now I'm not sure if the camera's showing it, but there's a little swoop in the handle there. And having the various different sizes of wheels means that I can match the wheel exactly to the radii of what I want on my various knife builds and knife designs. And it just so happens that that is the exact right size to grind an accurate the accurate radii of that swoop on the handle. So there's the swoop with the grind lines going across the blade, across the back of the knife, and after I've finished them on here, they'll be going all in that direction, and I'll be able to blend all this in. So that diameter there fits perfectly into that. Right, let's get on and do a bit of grinding. So I'm starting to refine the profile of the knife now. The one on this side here is what I've just worked on. You can see that it's taken out the grind lines from that direction and put them into that direction, and it's also starting to refine the actual final shape of the knife more accurately. The next process, once I've done all that, is to then work on the tighter internal radii here, and to do that I need to switch over to the small wheel attachment to get these smaller radii. Well, I've finished all the grinding with the big wheel now, so I need to bake the machine down. So it's simply a matter of on this side there are two knobs down here. Undo those, pull out the tool rest. So that's the tool rest out. Remove the belt from the machine, which is very easy to do because you've got a long arm here which is under tension and it travels a long way. So just pull that down, the belt comes off. Undo the threaded bolt, pull the bar out. So there is the machine in its broken down form. I've already got the small wheel attachment with another wheel in. This is the small wheel attachment with the tool rest on it, which you can rotate for various diameters. That goes into the top slot. On goes your belt. And then compress the tension a little bit, pull the bar out to where it takes the slack up, tighten it off, and then you're ready to go. And again, because it's easier to use this in the horizontal, just flip the grinder, tighten up using the adjuster. That's it, tightened up, and we're now ready to grind the internal radii. If I need to replace the wheel, I've got to loosen off the work rest, pull that out. Again, just remove the belt, the wheels just come out, and I can put in a different diameter wheel. In this case, that's the one I want at the moment, so that one goes in. They just slot in, tension holds them in place, and put that over there for the time being. Adjust the work rest, tighten it up, and we're ready to go. And this is an example of how I use the internal radii of the wheel to fit nicely into the the outside diameter of the wheel to fit into the internal radii of the handle of the knife. It takes all the guesswork away. This is a different radius here, so I need to go to a smaller wheel to get that. That's what I'll do now. And I'll go to a finer belt as well. That comes off, that loosens, that comes out. In goes a smaller diameter wheel. Let's get a different belt. And I'll use a finer belt. Finer belt removes less steel. There we are. Adjust the tracking a little bit. Tighten up the work plate. And we're ready to grind the slightly smaller radii on this now. So using the small diameter wheel, I've been able to refine the grinding. On this classic, for example, we got the nice drop point now, accurately ground where I want it. And on the camp knives, with that diameter fitting nicely into that internal radii there. Next process on the grinder is to swap this over now for the platen and knock off the 45s where the grind will be in preparation for heat treatment. And then obviously I've got to drill the handle holes and stamp the logo into the blade and finish the blade flats up to a certain standard. But this is about the grinder, so we'll now get the grinder prepared for bevel grinding. But just before I do that, I'll just show you once more the variety of the wheels that I've got for this small wheel. These all fit on the small wheel attachment which I'm using at the moment. So there you go. We've got the grinder broke down now to its basic component, the chassis part of it. I've got the Invertec speed controller on the wall, covered in dust. I'm sorry about the mess. This is a warts and all video, but I'll bring you in for a closer look at the solid construction of the chassis of the grinder. Also, before I do, I've made simple little holders, perhaps not in the best position because it chucks all the dust and dirt onto the accessories, but I've got a slack belt. That's my platen, and this is my tool rest for using with these two accessories here. So first of all, we'll look at the actual heavy chassis. It's been, I should imagine Mike's had that laser cut. He's had MP put in there. MP stands for Mike Palmer. Mike's also a knife maker, but he's turned his hand to making accessories for the knife maker in the UK, and he's done a brilliant job of this, absolutely brilliant. You've got a heavy base plate. I've raised it up a little bit to make it the optimum height for myself for my working. This is the device which you use for swiveling the grinder through 90 degrees. It goes through 90 and stops, and then back to the vertical and it stops. Heavy welded construction. This is a 2 horsepower 3-phase motor. I'll bring you in for a closer look at the crowned wheels for tracking and the actual drive wheel itself. So both the drive wheel and the tracking wheel are crowned. They're fairly large diameter wheels compared to my other grinder, and you've got a tracking adjustment here which is very accurate. Once it's adjusted, the belt doesn't drift, it just stays its course. It's all held in tension with a gas ram, and as I say, you've got a lot of play for taking on and off belts, which makes belt changes a lot quicker. Literally, you can change belts in seconds. Anyway, I'll get the machine configured now for bevel grinding. So here we are, literally seconds since I filmed the last clip when the machine was in this basic chassis configuration. I've put the belt on. This is a worn 80 grit belt, but you've got a lovely work rest, nice big work rest. The platen's a glass platen, so let's pull the belt off. You see how easy the belt changes are, and it's fully adjustable as well. So you've got, again, that nice swivel arm that you can adjust for whatever angle you want. It will go positive and negative if you like. So if I adjust the work rest out, you can actually swing it that way as well. Very, very well thought out machine. So I'm going to do some bevel grinding on it now, but before I do that, thought I'd just show you some of the wheels a bit close up, because each wheel's got its own individual bearing. So here's the wheel, one of the wheels on its tool rest. I just thought I'd show you this because as I mentioned, every wheel has its own bearing. That means that you're not relying on one bearing to do all the work for all the different wheels that you have, and therefore your wheels are going to last longer. And so they're just simply fit onto that axle, very simply. Brilliant idea. And as I say, it means that your bearing will last a lot longer, and I should imagine fairly easy to replace them as well. Well, I've got the machine now set up for pre-bevel grinding. I've got the machine now set up for pre-bevel grinding, so I'll just show you how well it tracks. So adjusting it to centre. There we are, bang on centre. If I need to swing it across a little bit to the right, I can, or a bit to the left. And it stays where you leave it. And even when you work on the belt, it doesn't push it across, it keeps it tracking.